Are we orphans in the universe? Outreach. A wise cause or creator would communicate.
Are we mere orphans in the universe? Unaided, are we completely incapable of unraveling this mystery? Must these answers be provided to us? What are some ways that a wise cause or causer might try to reach us? Is there any evidence of this?
Man's innate awareness, universal.
Throughout all civilizations and cultures, man has exhibited an innate awareness of a higher entity. Though often expressed in primitive and bizarre forms, through ignorance and superstition, man's instinctive drive to worship something higher than himself is universal.
Do we have a godship, that is, innate God knowledge?
Our instinct to worship is non-rational, that is, not the result of reasoning. How do we know? Because there are many reasoning people who deny the existence of a higher entity. What this universal belief in a higher being does indicate is that man's nature may be pre-wired to acknowledge and worship a maker. This phenomenon has been witnessed in all cultures, without exception.
As every anthropologist knows, all agree that there are no races, however crude, which are destitute of all idea of religion. Where does this universal awareness originate from? How is it manifested?
In general, three beliefs are typically associated with innate conviction of a higher entity.
1. Acceptance that a superbeing exists over and above the forces of nature. 2. An occasional sense of overwhelming smallness, or vulnerability in the cosmos, and a dependence upon this superbeing as controlling man's destiny. 3. A belief that meaningful communication can be established with this higher entity, and that this relationship can lead to security and happiness.
If a higher being has installed within us an intuitive recognition of him, for what purpose? Could it be meant to assure us that we are not orphans, and to aid in our quest to find our maker? If so, why do some reject this universal instinct?
Legacy of faith fragile.
The reality is, bad things do happen to good people. As a result, this instinctive knowledge can be damaged, and even dislodged, for a variety of reasons. For example, this instinct can be extinguished through sustained brainwashing tactics. These tactics often punish those who espouse spiritually oriented ideologies or beliefs. Such are the tactics of the atheistic political ideologies of communism, Marxism, neo-Nazis, fascists, and evolutionists.
He who denies God's existence thwarts, and suppresses the deepest instincts, and finest impulses of the soul.
Another way this instinct can be damaged is via a traumatizing event, in which the victim loses hope in an intervening reality. Others can lose their instinctive capacity to believe in a maker, through lack of confirmation. For example, a person may have been reared in a religious household, and may have even passively embraced the family's religious ideology. But when their faith is challenged, and they don't experience any confirming evidence, their passive belief can dissolve into cynicism. The sad result is practical atheism, that is, one who lives their life without any regard for spiritual reality.
Atheism is a crime against man. It attempts to tear out of the heart of man his craving for the spiritual, his hunger and thirst for the infinite. What are the results of dysfunctional, innate belief?
The result is atheism. Victims believe that God doesn't care about them, so they choose not to care about him. Typically, the only thing that can reignite their innate belief again, is through a convincing episode that restores their faith.
Summary.
Apparently one way the higher entity attempts to reach us, is via our universal, innate awareness of him. Let's examine another way that a cause or causer might attempt to communicate with us, courtesy of nature.
Is there a hidden message in nature?